Okay, so get this. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, thinks we're on the fast track to a future with abundant energy, like solved physics problems, and even a space colony, all within thousands of days.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It sounds wild, right? But that's just a taste of what we'll be unpacking today as we dive into his recent conversation with Y Combinator president Gary Tan. You sent over their discussion, and we're going to extract the juiciest bits for you.
It's a fascinating conversation, full of insights into the journey of OpenAI, the power of scaling, and what the future might hold in this rapidly approaching age of AI.
Yeah, what really struck me was Altman's vision of this age of abundance he keeps talking about. He seems convinced it's driven by two key things: artificial intelligence and abundant energy.
And what's interesting is how he connects those two, right? It's not just about AI making our current processes more efficient, but about using AI, fueled by abundant energy, to tackle massive problems we haven't even been able to scratch the surface of. He even mentions the possibility of solving every problem in physics with this combination.
Okay, I'll admit that part had me daydreaming a bit. Physics problem solved. Sign me up. But before we get too lost in the future, let's rewind a bit and look at OpenAI's origins. Back in 2015 when they started, the idea of pursuing artificial general intelligence, or AGI, was pretty fringe.
Absolutely. It's fascinating to hear Altman talk about how their small team, with limited resources, was basically driven by this religious level of belief in deep learning and scaling. And remember, this was at a time when the established AI community was pretty skeptical of these ideas. Some even accused them of potentially causing another AI winter.
So for those of us who aren't knee-deep in AI jargon, can you break down what deep learning and scaling actually mean in this context?
Sure. Think of deep learning like training a computer to learn from massive amounts of data. It's modeled after the way our own brains learn from experience. And scaling, that's about making these deep learning models bigger and more powerful, giving them even more data to chew on and learn from. It's like building a bigger, more complex brain for the AI.
Interesting. And it sounds like Altman took this idea of scaling and applied it to his whole approach at OpenAI, not just the technology itself.
Right. He talks a lot about how scaling has been a key principle for him, not just in AI, but in his earlier startup experiences as well. He learned that in many cases, more is more. It's a counterintuitive idea, especially in the startup world where we're often told to be lean and efficient. But with AI, throwing more data and computing power at the problem can yield incredible results.
It makes you wonder, where else could this more is more principle be applied? Could it be in marketing campaigns, product development, or even personal learning? It's definitely a thought-provoking concept.
Absolutely. It challenges us to rethink our assumptions about efficiency and growth. But what's also fascinating is that even with their focus on deep learning and scaling, OpenAI didn't initially anticipate the massive impact of language models. They started with things like robots, agents, and video games, areas we typically associate with AI. But then came GPT-3, 3.5, and 4, and the world of language models exploded.
It's kind of like they accidentally invented the future, right? They were aiming for one target and hit another, even bigger one.
Exactly. And Altman even shares this anecdote about Alec Radford, one of their researchers, who discovered that a single neuron in one of their early models could actually change the sentiment of a sentence from positive to negative. This seemingly small observation ended up sparking the development of the entire GPT series. It goes to show that breakthroughs can come from the most unexpected places.
That's a great reminder to pay attention to the little details, because you never know what might spark the next big thing. But of course, this meteoric rise wasn't without its challenges. Altman is very open about the difficulties of managing rapid growth, dealing with team dynamics, and leading a company at the forefront of such a disruptive technology.
And he's also candid about the drama surrounding some of the departures from OpenAI. It highlights the human element that's always present. Even in a company focused on cutting-edge AI, building something groundbreaking, especially at this pace, inevitably involves navigating complex relationships and adapting to constant change.
Yeah, it's a good reality check for anyone thinking that building an AI company is all algorithms and data. You can't escape the human factor.
So, given all this experience, what advice does Altman have for other founders trying to navigate this AI wave?
He really emphasizes the importance of speed and focus for startups. He sees that as their biggest advantage over larger, more established companies, especially in a field as fast-moving as AI. He basically says, ride the wave. Don't wait for permission or for the big players to figure it out.
But he also gives this great warning about what he calls the demo trap.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of AI and think that just having a cool demo is enough. Altman cautions against falling into that trap. He stresses that the fundamentals of building a successful business still apply. You need to solve real problems, understand your market, and deliver genuine value.
So it's like AI might be the rocket fuel, but you still need a well-designed rocket to actually reach orbit. Exactly. And to help us understand where this rocket might be headed, Altman breaks down the potential future of AI into 5 distinct levels. He starts with level 1, which
hmm
is basically where we are now, with chatbots and basic automation.
That makes sense. So what comes after that?
Level 2 is all about reasoners. These are AI systems that can understand and respond to more complex questions and tasks. Altman believes we actually hit that level this year with the release of ChatGPT.
Wow, so we're already on level 2. Things are moving fast. What about level 3?
Level 3 is where things get really interesting. This is the level of agents. Think of AI systems that can interact with the world and perform actions over longer periods of time. They can collaborate, learn from their experiences, and even ask for help when they need it. It's like having a team of incredibly capable AI assistants working for you.
Now that sounds both incredibly useful and a little bit scary. What about level 4?
Level 4 is what Altman calls the innovator stage. This is where AI systems start to show real creativity and problem-solving abilities. Remember that example we talked about earlier? The YC hackathon winner who used AI to design a functional airfoil. That's a glimpse into level 4. We're talking about AI that can not only solve problems, but come up with innovative solutions we might never have thought of ourselves.
That's incredible. It's almost like AI is becoming its own inventor at that level. And finally, we have level 5. What does that look like?
Level 5 is where things get really mind-blowing. This is the level where companies and entire organizations operate at the scale and speed of AI. It's hard to even grasp what that might look like, but it's clear that the implications are massive.
It makes you wonder, what would even be the role of humans in a world like that?
That's one of the big questions Altman raises, and it leads us into one of his most thought-provoking predictions: the emergence of companies that can generate billions of dollars in revenue with just a handful of employees.
Whoa, now that would be a true destruction of the traditional business model. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from the origins of OpenAI to this vision of 5 levels of AI, and companies run by a handful of people. Before we move on, is there anything else from this part of their conversation that really stands out to you?
Well, one thing that I find fascinating is how Altman's personal journey seems to have shaped his approach to building OpenAI. He started his first company, Looped, when he was only 19 years old.
Right, and that was basically a Find My Friends app, way before that was even a thing. Talk about being ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And even though Looped itself wasn't a huge success, that experience gave Altman invaluable lessons about building and managing a company, dealing with setbacks, and navigating the ever-changing tech landscape. It seems like those early experiences really laid the groundwork for his later success with OpenAI.
That's a great point. It shows that even the most groundbreaking ideas often come from a series of smaller steps and lessons learned along the way. All right, so we've explored OpenAI's origins, Altman's vision of the future, and even got a sneak peek at his own entrepreneurial journey. But what about the bigger picture? What does this all mean for the average person? For someone like you listening to this deep dive, that's what we'll explore next.
That's the key question, isn't it? We can talk about all these advancements, but what does it actually mean for everyday life? If Altman's right about this age of abundance, it could reshape everything, from the way we work to the problems we can solve as a society.
It's both exciting and a bit daunting, to be honest. We're talking about potential shifts in how we define work, leisure, even basic necessities. And it's all happening at a pace that's hard to grasp. But let's break it down a bit. We left off talking about those 5 levels of AI that Altman outlines. We've already reached level 2, with AI that can reason and respond to complex questions.
Right. And you mentioned those feelings of excitement and apprehension. That's completely understandable. Because when we start talking about level 3, with these AI agents that can interact with the world over time, we're stepping into territory that was pure science fiction not too long ago.
Yeah, like imagine having an AI that can not only schedule your meetings and book your travel, but can actually learn your preferences, anticipate your needs, and even negotiate on your behalf. That's a pretty massive shift in how we think about personal productivity and even autonomy.
And then there's level 4, where AI becomes this innovator, capable of coming up with creative solutions to complex problems. This isn't just about automation anymore. It's about AI partnering with humans to push the boundaries of what's possible. Think about fields like scientific research, engineering, even art and design. AI can be a powerful tool for discovery and creation.
You know, it's funny, we often talk about AI replacing human jobs, but what if it's more about AI augmenting human capabilities, making us even better at what we do? That YC hackathon example where AI designed a functional airfoil is a perfect illustration. It wasn't about replacing the human engineer, it was about giving them a powerful tool to accelerate the design process.
Exactly. And that brings us to level 5, which is where things get really wild. This is where entire companies, organizations, even industries operate at the scale and speed of AI. It's hard to wrap our heads around what that might look like in practice, but the implications are huge.
Think about it. If Altman's prediction about companies generating billions in revenue with only a handful of employees comes true, that would radically change the landscape of work. We might be looking at a future where traditional jobs become less relevant and new, unimagined roles emerge.
It's a future where the relationship between humans and AI becomes even more intertwined, with AI handling complex tasks and freeing humans to focus on creativity, strategy, and things that require uniquely human skills. But of course, all of this raises big questions too. How do we ensure that the benefits of this age of abundance are shared equitably? How do we prepare for potential job displacement and create new opportunities? And perhaps most importantly, how do we maintain control and ensure that AI remains a tool that serves humanity?
These are huge questions, and they're not going to be easy to answer. But I think the first step is having these conversations, exploring the possibilities, and starting to think critically about the kind of future we want to create. And I have to say, hearing Altman talk about his vision, it's hard not to feel a sense of optimism, even amidst all the uncertainty. He genuinely believes that AI has the potential to solve some of humanity's biggest challenges and create a better world for everyone.
That's what makes his perspective so compelling. He's not just a tech CEO caught up in the hype. He's someone who seems deeply invested in the ethical implications of AI and genuinely wants to use this technology for good.
He's also not afraid to acknowledge the potential risks, which I appreciate. He talks about the importance of responsible development, the need for guardrails, and the fact that we're still very much in the early stages of figuring all of this out. But ultimately, he seems optimistic that we can navigate these challenges and come out the other side in a better place.
It's a refreshing perspective, especially in a field that often gets bogged down in dystopian scenarios. Altman's optimism is contagious, and it encourages us to think about the possibilities rather than just the potential pitfalls.
So, what does all this mean for someone listening right now? Where do they fit into this rapidly changing landscape? Well, Altman has some pretty clear advice for anyone feeling overwhelmed or uncertain about this future of AI.
He says, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the big companies to figure it out. The beauty of this moment is that anyone with an idea and the willingness to learn can jump in and start building. He specifically encourages entrepreneurs to embrace the speed and agility of startups, using it to their advantage in this fast-moving field.
It's that classic move fast and break things mentality, but applied to AI. And he even offers a specific example of how entrepreneurs are already using AI to create incredible things. Remember that story he shared about the YC hackathon winner who used AI to design a functional airfoil in just a few days? That's a testament to the power of these tools and the potential they hold for anyone with a bit of creativity and technical know-how.
It's a reminder that the barrier to entry for innovation has never been lower. You don't need a PhD in computer science or $1 million budget to start experimenting with AI. The tools are becoming increasingly accessible, and there's a wealth of information available online. It's really about having the curiosity and drive to dive in and start learning.
You know what strikes me? Is that Altman isn't just talking about entrepreneurs or tech-savvy individuals. He seems to believe that this is a wave that everyone can ride. Regardless of their background or skill set, he talks about AI becoming a fundamental tool for everyone, much like the internet or smartphones have become today.
And that's where his vision of democratizing AI comes in. He wants to see these tools become so accessible and user-friendly that anyone can leverage them, regardless of their technical expertise. He envisions a world where AI empowers everyone, from students and artists to small business owners and researchers.
It's a powerful vision, and it makes you wonder, what could you do with these tools at your fingertips? Could you automate tedious tasks, analyze data to gain new insights, or even create something entirely new? The possibilities are vast, and they're only going to expand as AI continues to evolve.
One thing that Altman emphasizes is the importance of staying curious and being willing to learn. This is a field that's constantly changing, and the best way to keep up is to embrace that change and never stop learning. He encourages people to experiment, to try new things,
Right.
and to not be afraid of failure.
It's that classic growth mindset applied to the world of AI. And it's a reminder that even if you're not a tech expert, you can still play a role in shaping this future. It's about being an informed citizen, engaging in conversations about the ethical implications of AI, and advocating for responsible development.
Ultimately, the future of AI is not something that's going to be decided by a few tech companies
Right.
or a handful of experts. It's going to be shaped by all of us through our choices, our actions,
Yeah.
and our willingness to engage with this technology in a thoughtful and meaningful way.
And that brings us back to the heart of what makes this conversation with Altman so fascinating. He's not just talking about the technical advancements of AI, he's talking about its potential to transform society, to solve some of our biggest challenges, and to create a future that's more abundant and equitable for everyone. It's a vision that's both inspiring and challenging,
Yeah.
and it's one that we all have a stake in.
And speaking of challenges, one of the most immediate ones we face is the potential for job displacement as AI becomes more sophisticated. Altman acknowledges this concern, but he believes it's not a reason to fear AI. Instead, he sees it as an opportunity to rethink our relationship with work and create new models for a future where AI handles many of the tasks that humans currently perform.
Hmm. It's a shift in perspective that's worth considering. Instead of seeing AI as a threat to our livelihoods, what if we saw it as a tool to liberate us from tedious or dangerous jobs, freeing us to pursue more meaningful work, creative endeavors, or simply more leisure time? Of course, this transition won't be seamless, and there will be challenges along the way. But Altman believes that by embracing a mindset of adaptability and continuous learning, we can navigate this transition and emerge stronger on the other side.
And this is where education and retraining become crucial. As AI reshapes the job market, we need to invest in programs that help people acquire the skills they need to thrive in this new landscape. This isn't just about technical skills either. It's about fostering creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving abilities. Skills that will be increasingly valuable in a world where AI can handle many of the routine tasks.
It's about empowering people to be lifelong learners, constantly adapting and evolving alongside the technology. And it's not just about individuals either. Governments and institutions need to play a role in creating policies and safety nets that support people through this transition.
Absolutely. We need to think about things like universal basic income, job retraining programs, and access to affordable education. We need to ensure that the benefits of AI are distributed fairly and that everyone has the opportunity to participate in this new economy.
It's a complex challenge, but it's one that we can't afford to ignore. And it's a challenge that Altman believes we can overcome. He points to the fact that throughout history, technological advancements have always disrupted the status quo, but they've also ultimately led to progress and a higher standard of living for many.
He sees AI as the next chapter in this ongoing story of human progress. And while there will be bumps along the way, he believes that by working together, we can harness the power of AI to create a future that's more prosperous, equitable, and fulfilling for everyone.
It's a powerful vision, and it's one that we're only just beginning to explore. As we continue to delve deeper into this conversation with Altman, we'll cover even more insights into the potential of AI, the challenges we face, and the choices that lie ahead. It's like as we're exploring all these facets of this AI revolution, one thing that keeps coming back to me is this idea of like personal agency.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel like we're just along for the ride with technology, but Altman really emphasizes that we have choices to make.
He's right, it's not about passively accepting whatever future AI brings. We can actively shape this technology, guide its development, and ensure it aligns with our values. It's a responsibility we all share. From the developers coding the algorithms to the everyday users interacting with AI systems.
Yeah, that's a powerful reminder. So much of the conversation around AI focuses on what it can do, but we also need to be talking about what it should do. What are the ethical considerations? How do we prevent bias and discrimination? How do we ensure that AI benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Those are the critical questions we need to be grappling with right now. And it's encouraging to hear Altman addressing them head on. He talks about the importance of transparency, of making these systems understandable and accountable. He also emphasizes the need for collaboration, bringing together diverse voices from different fields to guide the development of AI in a responsible and ethical way.
It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the values we embed in it, and it's about recognizing that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us to ensure that it's used to the benefit of humanity.
Exactly. And this brings us back to Altman's advice for entrepreneurs. He encourages them to not just build cool tech, but to build tech that solves real problems and makes a positive impact. He sees this as a unique opportunity for startups to lead the way, to be the driving force behind a more ethical and human-centered approach to AI.
It's like he's calling for a new generation of tech leaders
Yeah.
who are not just brilliant engineers but also thoughtful citizens, deeply aware of the social and ethical implications of their work.
And he's walking the walk with OpenAI, too. They've made a commitment to open research and collaboration, sharing their findings and working with others to ensure that AI benefits everyone. It's a model that other companies and organizations would do well to emulate.
It's inspiring to see a company at the forefront of AI, taking such a proactive and responsible approach. It gives me hope that we can navigate this technological revolution in a way that benefits all of humanity.
You know, one of the most thought-provoking ideas Altman puts forward is this concept of AI as a force multiplier for human potential. He believes that AI can amplify our abilities, help us overcome our limitations, and unlock new levels of creativity and innovation.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. Instead of fearing AI as a replacement for humans, what if we saw it as a partner, a collaborator, a tool that can help us achieve things we never thought possible?
It's about shifting our mindset from competition to collaboration. Imagine a world where AI helps us solve complex scientific problems, develop new medical treatments, create groundbreaking works of art, and build more sustainable and equitable societies. That's the kind of future Altman envisions. And it's a future I think we can all get excited about.
It's a future where the line between human and machine becomes blurred, not in a dystopian way, but in a way that enhances our capabilities and expands our horizons. It's a future where we work alongside AI, leveraging its strengths while still valuing our own unique human qualities.
And it's a future that's being built right now, not in some far-off science fiction world, but in labs and startups and universities all over the globe. It's a future that's being shaped by the choices we make today, by the values we embed in this technology, and by the conversations we have about its implications.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Sam Altman's vision of the future, I think the biggest takeaway is this. The age of AI is not something to be feared, but rather an opportunity to be embraced. It's an opportunity to rethink our assumptions, to challenge our limits, and to build a future that's more innovative, more equitable, and more fulfilling for everyone.
It's a future that requires us to be informed,
Yeah.
to be engaged, and to be actively involved in shaping the direction of this powerful technology. The choices we made today will determine the world we inherit tomorrow. So what will your contribution be?